Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to Hofstra University's Spring 2014 commencement exercises for the Frank G. Zarb School of Business, the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication, and the School of Engineering and Applied Science. Our program begins with the invocation delivered by the Reverend Gregory Ranazizi from the university's Board of Chaplains, followed by the national anthem and the alma mater led by Deanna, Grunberg, class of 2015. The alma mater is in the inside front cover of your program. Will everyone please stand? Thank you.
My friends, let us bow our heads for a moment of prayer. Almighty and merciful God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather this afternoon to celebrate the accomplishments of so many. In the beginning of time, you ordered the world by first bringing forth light from darkness. At the pinnacle of your creative process, you formed the human family to share your ability to know, to reason, to enter into meaningful relationships. In short, to be like you. As we gather to celebrate academic and personal achievements, we ask you to renew within each one of us the desire to be your light in a world so often shrouded in darkness. This light, we know, is the knowledge given to us by you, the source of all that is. Let us be your light in the field of the sciences and arts, law and medicine, education and social service. May our light shine forth brightly in the classroom, in the laboratory, the clinic, and the courthouse, the markets, and most importantly of all, in our homes. May the accomplishments we recognize in this moment be translated into great works of love for all those we encounter, especially the weak and vulnerable in our midst. We thank you, God, for the countless ways you have guided us to this moment, for the support of family and friends, professors, counselors, coaches, heroes, and role models from our youth. Bless all those who have made this day possible because of their selfless sacrifices, many of which perhaps we are not aware of. May our lives, bearing witness to the light of truth and knowledge, always aim to fulfill the prayer of a poor man from the hills outside of Rome nearly 800 years ago. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it truly is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying to self that we are promised eternal life. All this we ask in your holy and awesome name, you who live and reign as the one true God, forever and ever. Amen.
And the rockets
Please be seated. I'm pleased to make some very special introductions. I'm going to ask that you hold your applause until all the introductions are complete. The chairperson of our Board of Trustees, Chairperson Janice Meyer, class of '81, Trustee Stephen Freiberg, class of '79 and '80, representing the shared governance of Hofstra University, the Senate Executive Committee Chairperson, Stuart Bass, representing the 126,000 graduates of Hofstra University, the Vice President of our Alumni Organization, Andrew Corrado, class of '92, the Deans of Hofstra University, beginning with Dean Simon Benavi from the School of Engineering and Applied Science, Dean Ronald Bloom, the Acting Dean of the School of Health Sciences and Human Services, Dean Evan Cornog, the Dean of the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication, Dean Bernard J. Firestone, the Dean of the Hofstra College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Dean Sean Finelli, the Dean of the School of Education, Dean Warren Fazina, the Dean of Hofstra University Honors College, Dean Patrick Sochi, the Dean of the Frank G. Zarb School of Business, Dean Diana Herbert, the Senior Associate Dean for the School for University Studies, Dean Leora P. Schmelkin, Senior Vice Provost and the Dean of Graduate Studies. And now the one person on our campus who needs no introduction, the President of Hofstra University, President Stuart Rabinowitz.
Bad. Members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, administration, guests, distinguished guests, but by far most importantly, the graduates of the class of 2014. You're not only among the brightest graduating classes in America, you're surely the best looking. And to their families and friends, I too welcome you to our 2014 commencement exercises. After all of my years, I do not view commencement as a solemn ritual, nor, I'm afraid, will it be an occasion for me to finally reveal to you the secret of everlasting happiness. I would, if I could, especially after all the tuition dollars you've invested in here over your years. I would if I could, but I can't, because I have come to believe that the secret of happiness is truly different for each one of us, and that no matter what anybody tells us, we must discover our own path to fulfillment for ourselves. As to giving you advice on other life issues, well, I'll leave that task to our superbly qualified commencement speaker. So for me, today is rather simple. It is a celebration. We are here to celebrate the accomplishments and the hard work of our graduates and the sacrifices that have been made on their behalf by their family and friends. And we also celebrate the many exciting options and future opportunities that all that work and all those sacrifices have afforded to the graduates. And today, you will acquire one of the very, very rare assets in life, which one, could never be taken away from you, and two, I promise will never, ever depreciate in value, and that is your Hofstra degrees. Indeed, we are confident that those degrees will increase in value throughout your careers. And our vow to you today is the same one we made at your orientation, and that is that we will do everything in our power to enhance the stature and reputation of this university and hence the value of your degree. So by far, my most important message to our graduates today is simple, but heartfelt. You have earned our congratulations and our admiration. You have worked hard, you have learned well, and you clearly are ready to make your mark on the world. We take pride in your accomplishments, and so should you. In short, today is surely a time for you proudly to display your beautiful Hofstra swag. YOLO. I close these very brief remarks today the same way I've closed my comments for the last 13 years. I've had the grand privilege of serving as president of this great university. I close by wishing each of our graduates well. I wish you all the success you think you need in life and all that work and ability earned for you. I wish you the perspective to forgive yourself and to learn from the inevitable mistakes, because mistakes by human beings are inevitable. I wish you the tenacity and the courage and, frankly, the good fortune to someday find a life's work about which you feel passionate, rather than settling for something which neither challenges nor fulfills you. I wish you the very special sense of satisfaction and self-worth that I have found comes only from using at least some of your talent and energy to help others, especially those who are in need. And lastly, and on a personal basis, I think most importantly, I wish you the wisdom not to forego the love of family and friends in some relentless pursuit of material success. As comedian Lily Tomlin so aptly observed it, the trouble with the rat race is if you're in it, even if you win the race, at the very end, you will still feel like a rat. The class of 2014 leaves here with our admiration and with our affection. We will miss you. We enjoyed teaching you. We enjoyed learning from you. We hope that you will maintain your ties to your classmates and, of course, to your alma mater. For from this day forward, you will always be a graduate of Hofstra University, and your accomplishments will always be the most important driver of the reputation, of the value of a Hofstra education. You will always be a member and an important member of the university community. Hofstra will always welcome you back home. On behalf of the faculty and the administration and the staff of this university, I extend to each of you our heartiest congratulations and our warmest wishes for your success and your happiness. Thank you. It's now my honor to ask that Trustee Stephen Freiberg come forward with his candidate for an honorary degree, Jared Kushner.
Thank you, Stuart. And first, I want to congratulate the class on a wonderful milestone and really wish everyone success, health, and happiness. And just from somebody who's spent 35 years out there, you know, life is 80% attitude. And I think if you just stay the course, you'll reach all three of those elements. So let me spend a few moments and first say I really do think Stuart actually likes me. He's finally given me a good job, which is to introduce Jared Kushner for the Doctor of Human Letters. And let me spend a moment or two just telling you a little bit about Jared. First, Jared has established himself as a visionary force in not just one, but two New York empires, real estate and media. As CEO of Kushner Companies, Mr. Kushner has completed more than $10 billion in real estate transactions since 2007 and led the company into an era of remarkable growth by developing and managing new office and residential properties. Between 2010 and 2013, Kushner Companies was one of the country's most prolific buyers of multifamily apartments. Mr. Kushner has been very active in Soho, downtown New York City, and Brooklyn, developing office space for high-tech and creative tenants. Last year, Kushner Companies partnered with the Manhattan-based real estate company RFR to buy a $375 million six-building complex in Dumbo, Brooklyn, and in conjunction with a third company, are planning on transforming the buildings into an office hub for tech and creative firms. Mr. Kushner is also owner of the Observer Media Group, a collection of premium lifestyle and business titles available in digital, print, and social media platforms. The New York Observer, the group's best-known title, underwent a total web and print redesign under Mr. Kushner's watch, trading its broadsheet size and iconic salmon color for the more traditional white tabloid. However, Mr. Kushner's leadership extends far beyond the superficial. He has grown Observia Media into a profitable multimedia business that combines the voice and influence of the New York Observer with other unique company holdings, including the websites Better Beat and Gallerist, and the publications Commercial, Observer, Scene, and Very Short List. Mr. Kushner balances professional success with participation in many trade and charitable organizations. Mr. President, for Jared Kushner's leadership and successful business endeavors, it's my honor to present him to you as a candidate for the Doctor of Human Letters honoris causa.
Jared Kushner, it is a privilege and an honor to recognize your leadership, your professional success in both real estate and the media, your philanthropic activities, and your kind and good heart. I am pleased to present you with the Doctor of Humane Letters degree honoris causa. Congratulations. Did he tip you over? Or?
That felt like it was going to be a very dramatic ending there when they put that on. And thank you, Stephen, for such a very elaborate introduction. I think my mother definitely had a hand in writing that. So President Rabinowitz, thank you very much for having me here today. It really is an honor to be here with all of you on really a very, very special day. I must admit that about a week and a half ago, I started making other plans today because after I saw that Michelle Obama and Condoleezza Rice both were kicked out of their commencement roles through petition, I really thought it would be a matter of time before my brother started an online petition to get me booted here today. But here we are. I want to dedicate this speech that I put together to my dad, who's here with us today and actually turned 60 last week. We're not going to sing a group happy birthday to you, but it was 35 years ago that my dad graduated from Hofstra Law School. And it's been a really very wild ride since. Growing up, my father told me about his experience on the day of his graduation and how his father, who was an immigrant and a Holocaust survivor, pulled him aside under a tree and said, son, as I learned in my life, I saw with the Nazis, they took everything from me. They took my family, they took my money, but nobody can ever take away your education. And I think that that's a lesson that obviously is very important for all of you today. A lot of what I'm going to speak about today are lessons that I learned from the best professor on how to get the most out of life, which is my dad. So I love you, Dad. Thank you. When President Rabinowitz asked me to speak today, I thought long and hard about what would be a good message to leave with a class in 2014 graduating from college. And I thought that the right theme would be challenges and opportunities. Challenges because you're all leaving school into a tough economy, a tough job market, but opportunity in that you're entering a world that's changing at record speed, and having youth today is a tremendous advantage, especially now that you have a college degree. Unless some of you have taken a very, very long time to get through college, you're all part of what we call the millennial generation, which means that you've grown up with technology and you're very fluent with a lot of the pathways through which the world is evolving today. Today, a child in Africa with a smartphone has more information at his fingertips than the President of the United States did 30 years ago. You've all grown up understanding this technology, and as the world evolves and changes, you'll see that as we go through this industrial revolution, you have a much better understanding of the tools that it takes to drive a lot of change. So today, I figured I would start with my story, and then we'll get to some of the lessons. 11 years ago, I was sitting where a lot of you are today. I was graduating from college, and I had a plan. I had it all figured out. My plan at the time was that I was going to graduate college, I was going to go to law school, I was going to work in not-for-profit for a bunch of years as long as I could get away with it, and then ultimately transition to the business world. And as the great poet Mike Tyson said, one of my favorite quotes is, everybody's got a plan until they get hit. And what I realized very quickly was that, over the last 11 years, my life could not have gone less according to that plan, and I'm very, very grateful for it. I've learned that in life, you can't avoid the storm, so it's better that you learn how to dance in the rain. My father, we grew up with a very hardworking mentality in our family. The immigrant mentality really went its way down, and my father was always working, and if we wanted to spend time with my dad, we'd go to work with him. So from when I was 4 years old, if a lot of my friends were going to football games with their dads on Sundays, I'd be in the back of his car with him going to construction sites and job sites and general work, whatever he was doing. And it was great. I learned so much through that experience. It really got into my blood, and then at the age of 19, when I was in college, I went and I bought my first few buildings. Call it a bad idea with follow-through, whatever it was, but I saw a good opportunity and I went for it. I thought growing up in real estate that I would have the ability to do very well with it, and I very quickly realized that whereas I thought I knew everything, I knew absolutely nothing, and I spent the next couple of years making virtually every mistake you can make in the book, and I learned from it. We had a rising real estate market, and I think I bought the right stuff, and so ultimately it was a successful investment, but the experience of trying something new was incredibly invaluable to me. One of my favorite stories from that time was I didn't have a car because I was only 19, I was in college. So as I would renovate the buildings, I had this great contractor, a 6'5" Guatemalan guy named Nelson, who'd come pick me up at my dorms in his Dodge pickup truck, take me to the jobs. I'd say, Nelson, we're going too slow, this work's not good enough, you're too expensive. And I'd sheepishly ask him if he'd give me a ride back to my dorm, which he did. After that, I thought I was going to go into banking, and so I worked my junior summer for an investment bank, like a lot of my friends were doing, and I very quickly realized from that experience that I didn't want to go work for a bank. So I took the LSATs, applied to law school, and I was on my way. My first year in law school, I had a little bit of a setback, which forced me at that point to get into the family business and start dealing with things sooner than I'd like to. And it turned out to be a very, very challenging time, but a time where I was able to learn a lot. Then at the age of 25, I bought a newspaper knowing absolutely nothing about the media industry. And then in 2007, we all know what happened with the economy, and we ended up working through both the real estate business and the media business through one of the greatest downturns that I think anyone in this room has ever lived through. And it was a very challenging experience, not always fun, but we worked through a lot of things, and it turned out to be obviously a big learning experience. Today, I've been very fortunate. The last 5 years have been incredible, and I've built a great business along with my dad, and it's been a lot of fun to do it. And I guess I was going to say some things we've done, but most of it was said already. So when I started out, I was a young guy in an old man's world, but today I feel like I'm an older young guy in what's really become a young man's world. So today I figured the best thing I could do would be to share some of the lessons that I learned along the last 11 years that really helped me achieve the different things that I've achieved. The first one I thought I'd share today is really the most practical, which is whenever I speak with younger guys coming out of college and starting the workforce, everyone always says to me, what should we be doing? And I guess what I would say to you all today is I've got good news and bad news. And the bad news is you all think you're finishing the race. You've worked very, very hard to get here today. But the bad news is that the race is really just beginning. And I think that the good news is you have the skills to do what it takes, but it's going to be a lot of work from here on to get to the place that you all want to be. The most important thing in life is to find the thing that you love doing and to really try a lot of different things at this stage so that you can learn what it is you love and then hopefully devote your lives to doing it. But over the next 5 years, the advice that I always give people is to find the best bosses, find the best jobs, work your tails off, and really try hard so that as you get later on in life, you'll have the skills that it takes to ultimately pursue the things that you feel passionate about. The next thing I would say along those lines is that it's very important to take risks at an early age. And I'm not advocating for crazy risks like skydiving or betting on the Mets or anything like that. I'm a Mets fan. But the other night, my wife and we ordered in some Chinese food, and I had a great fortune cookie that said, "Courage is not the lack of fear, it's the mastery of it." And I think that's very important because at this age, you kind of have rubber butts, and you can afford to fall as long and get up, many times over. I recall a commencement address from 2008 that J.K. Rowling did, where I was there, when she said a great quote that stuck with me when she was talking about how when she was first writing the Harry Potter series and trying to get it published, she was rejected by over 50 publishers along the way. And it turned out, obviously, to be a great success with those books. But she said, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. In that case, you failed by default." In my career over the last 5 years, I can attribute a lot of the successes I've had to the failures that I had earlier on. And all of those failures either taught me different skills, taught me different lessons, or gave me the motivation, the hunger to try again and then ultimately to succeed. So don't be afraid to take risks and don't be afraid to fail. My next lesson is actually the most important lesson, which I learned from my dad. And it may sound very simple, but it's to be on time. And I remember when I was 18 years old, I came home and I had a job interview. And it was in New York City, and I was staying at my parents' house in New Jersey. And my dad said to me the night before, he says, "Well, what time are you leaving for your interview?" Well, I said, "Dad, it's at 9 o'clock. I'll leave the house at 8 o'clock. And he says, "Well, what if there's traffic?" And I said, "Well, Dad, I've done the drive 100 times. There won't be traffic. I'll get there at 8:30 and it'll be good." He said, "Well, what if there's an accident?" I said, "Well, I don't control that." And he said, "Well, Jared, remember this, son. The only reason in life that you were ever late is that you didn't leave early enough." And that's actually a very powerful lesson, and it goes beyond just promptness. It really is that, you could spend your time worrying about all the things you can't control, but that's really not productive. What is productive is to spend your time focusing on the things you can control, which are your actions, and then focusing on how you can get to the outcomes you desire by putting forth the right efforts in the right ways. Which leads directly to the next point, which is, in life, there are really two kinds of people: people who solve problems and people who complain about things. And I really would urge you all today, in whatever you do, to be a problem solver. When people ask me what I do, I could say I do media, I do real estate, I do technology, but what I actually do all day is I solve problems. And, if I'm trying to buy a building, somebody wants to sell it for X, I want to buy it for Y, I've got to come to a place where everyone agrees. When I worked at the DA's office for the summer, somebody put a knife in somebody, we had to figure out who did it. And it's just that simple. Everything you do is about problem solving, and it's very important to be focused on getting to the right place. When I was 25 years old and I bought a newspaper with no experience in media, I came into a group of people who were very ingrained in the ways that they did their business. And I noticed that the industry was changing very rapidly, and for me it was very important to try to drive change and get us to a different place, and so I would push. And one of my favorite quotes is from Carly Fiorina. I heard her say that change is like heaven. Everybody wants to go there, but nobody wants to die. And it was very, very true, because everyone agreed with what we wanted to do, but nobody wanted to make the sacrifice or put the effort in to get to the right outcome. And through that experience, we were able to build a good core team of problem solvers, and it ultimately led us to accomplish a lot more successes than we probably should have. The next lesson, we're at number 5, so we're getting there, is hustle and desire. And, in my company, we've grown a lot over the last years. We've grown from about 80 people to about 750 people. I always tell my guys that we should hire more for desire and talent over qualifications. And, when we're pursuing things, we tell our guys, know what you want and then want it more than the next guy. And you find that actually you can outwork people, and it gets you great results. I remember when I was younger, I read Bill Bradley's book, and he was, for those of you who don't know him, a former United States Senator and basketball legend for the Knicks. And he wrote about when he was practicing, he would always, whenever he'd leave the gym, so he'd take 100 free throws or he'd run suicides, he always said when he was leaving the gym, there was somebody out there who was doing 101. There was somebody out there who was doing 110. And he said in life, he was competing against a ghost. And he feared the day that he got onto the court and he actually had to face that person who outworked him. And so by always competing with yourself and pushing yourself to do better, you'll find that you could accomplish more than you believe yourself that you can. The next one, number 6, is to dream big. And I have a great quote from George Bernard Shaw, who says, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable." In life, it's important to always be at war against "it's always been done this way." A great inspiring example of this is actually from my brother, who at the age of 26, he was growing his business, he has a venture business, and he opened up his healthcare bill, and he realized that he had no idea what any of it meant, and that's with 2 Harvard degrees. I know, President, if you had 1 Hofstra degree, you probably would know, but, we can do that. But what he decided to do at that time was he did what a lot of people of your generation do, which is they start to attack problems and they don't accept things for what they are. So him and a few friends, they work together on a business plan. They spend nights and weekends for the next 9 months. And ultimately, they came up with a plan to start an insurance company. So what they ended up launching was a company called Oscar, which is now on the New York State Exchange. They're one of the first companies in the last 15 years to get a new license for a for-profit insurance. And they're growing an amazing business and really trying to bring price transparency and a lot of customer service features to healthcare. So that's just a great example of somebody who was sitting there and saying, why can't I make changes? And he really went to drive that and did. My final thought is to tell you all, which is to use a Yiddish word that will make my grandmother very proud, is to be a mensch. And what I've learned in business along the way is that business is not a zero-sum game. You really should try to always create win-win situations wherever you can. I met about 5 years ago a gentleman who, after we had a very nice connection, and he started making all these introductions for me. And I said to him, I said, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to help me so much? And he gave me a beautiful allegory where he said, Jared, I believe that in life, relationships and help is like fire. And, I have a strong fire, and if I use my fire to light your candle, it doesn't take away anything from my fire. And this way, down the road, if my fire goes a little limp, I can just light it again off of your fire. And I thought that was a beautiful way to put it. And what I've seen in my business is that a lot of my successes over the last years have really come from the things that I've done not for profit to help people. And a great example is again with my brother, where as he was investing in a lot of these companies, I started advising them all. I would joke with him that my full-time unpaid job was advising all these companies on their real estate. I couldn't help them build websites, I couldn't help them build apps, but I could help them navigate the New York real estate scene. By doing that, it put me very close touch with the companies and the changing landscape, and I understood what markets they wanted to be in and what they needed that the landlords weren't catering to. And it really changed the way that we did business and has led to a lot of our successes. So what I would say to you, it's okay to be greedy, but always be long-term greedy. And focus on doing the right thing for people, and you'll see in life it will pay you back. And if it doesn't, you did the right thing. So everything I've shared with you today are suggestions and some of the guiding principles that will hopefully help you accomplish the goals that you set for yourself to get to the places that you dream to be. So I'm going to leave you today with one final story, which led to probably one of my biggest revelations. About 10 years ago, one of my lawyers said, Jared, why don't you come on a Sunday and let's go sail fishing? I had no idea what sail fishing is, and I since learned that. So we go on the boat, and I'll explain it for you because I had no idea. It was basically you sit on a boat and they've got a whole bunch of rods, and sail fishing is a sport fish. And so you take turns sitting in a seat with a harness, and whenever a fish gets caught on the line, the person who's sitting in the seat, they put the rod in the harness, and you've got to bring the fish into the boat. So my first time I sit in the seat, my luck, we get a bite on the rod. They put the rod into the harness, and I'm trying to wheel the fish in. I spent the next hour and a half getting the fish into the boat, which was a very, very trying experience. I mean, the fish would run, we would give it some room, we'd bring it in, we'd go back, we'd go forth, and it really was a very cool experience. And then after an hour and a half, we get the fish in the boat. We all look at it, we weigh it. It was a record weight fish. We take a picture with it, and then we threw it right back into the water. And I said, I couldn't think of anything that day because I was so exhausted from the experience. But the next day when I was thinking about it and I couldn't move my arms, I said, why was that fun? I spent an hour and a half trying to get this fish into the boat. We caught and I threw it right back into the water. And what I realized is that people see this as a sport. And the sport is not in catching the fish, because once you get it, you throw it back. It's really in the challenge of fighting with the fish. And what I realized is that in life, we're all going to set goals for ourselves. And you spend 99% of your time getting to that goal, not being at that goal. And if you're not enjoying the challenge along the way, then it's something you shouldn't be spending your time doing. So as you pursue whatever it is, you should really always be looking at yourself and saying, I know my goals are important, but am I enjoying the path that it's getting me there? That fish story, to me, is really about learning to love the journey, not just about loving the result. This is your challenge. This is your opportunity, and this is your time. You hold within your hearts and within your heads the power to transform the world around you. Today marks the end of a special time in your lives, but it also marks the beginning of a lifelong journey to imprint that which is special about each of you, a spark of something divine on the people and the places and institutions that you'll touch as you make your own way. As you wrestle that fish into your boats, remembering to hustle and dream big and be on time and all the rest. Remember, above all, to enjoy the journey. Thank you, everyone. Have fun.
Excellence in teaching is our highest priority, and Hofstra University prides itself on the quality of teaching taking place on our campus. It is therefore an enormous honor for someone to be selected as Teacher of the Year. Every year, graduating students select recipients for the singular honor. Only one person is selected from each school or college. The recipients that are with us this afternoon are Elizabeth K. Venuti from the Frank G. Zarb School of Business, Ellen T. Frazina from the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication, Mauro Caputi from the School of Engineering and Applied Science, and Katie Sell from the School of Education. Please come forward to be recognized by President Rabinowitz. And now, to present the alumni from the class of 1964, I'm pleased to present the Vice President of our alumni organization, Andrew Corrado, class of 92.
Thank you. First, it is my pleasure today to welcome our newest members, the class of 2014. Woo! Into the Hofstra University Alumni Organization. You are joining a network of more than 126,000 members spread throughout 50 states and more than 100 countries. Your careers as students may end today, but you will always remain a part of the Hofstra family. With social media, it is very easy to stay in touch with the school, your classmates, and friends, and I urge you to do just that. Be sure to get involved with the university, become a volunteer, and at some point down the road, a donor. Your Hofstra legacy should not end at graduation because we share a lifelong connection. We are privileged today to have among us another group of Hofstra graduates. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating members of the class of 1964, who today is celebrating their 50th anniversary of their graduation. Will the members of the class of 1964 please come forward to be recognized by President Rabinowitz and Board of Trustee Chair Janice Meyer. Gerard Lambert, Sheila Howard, Robert Spieler, Irene Erler Bossert, George Pattison III, Janet Blatt, Philip Mark, Roger W. Hughes, Edward Samuels, Robert Van Leerup, Harriet Schiff Sirota, Maddie Leibowitz, and Barbara Shapiro, and Dr. Robert D. Congratulations to all of our graduates.
And now, will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Business Administration, Bachelor of Engineering, and Bachelor of Science degrees from the Frank G. Zarb School of Business, the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication, and the School of Engineering and Applied Science please stand? Mr. President, I have the honor to present all the candidates who have successfully completed all the requirements for the baccalaureate degree for their respective school or college. I recommend, together with the appropriate dean and faculty, that you confer the baccalaureate degree upon these candidates.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the trustees of Hofstra University and by the Regents of the State of New York, and upon the recommendations of the provost, your deans, and your faculties, I am proud to confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Business Administration, Bachelor of Engineering, or Bachelor of Science as appropriate. Congratulations to each and every one.
Will all the graduates please come forward to be recognized by President Stuart Rabinowitz, Trustee Chair Janice Meyer, and your Dean. Your names will be read by Frank G. Zarb School of Business Assistant Dean Brian Caligari and Lawrence Herbert School of Communication Associate Dean Mark Oppenheim.
Graduates of the Frank G. Zarb School of Business: Daniel Byrne, David Geller, Isaac Cohen, Daniel Lewitt, Megan Kennedy, Elizabeth Bronkowski, Mariel Davey, Kerry Murphy, Alyssa Ruggiero, Jill Saba, Brianne Maggie, Flynn O'Sullivan, James Yates, Chase Nelson, Caitlin Quinn, Kelsey Marino, Megan Flood, Keith Debonaiches, Christina Kovacs, Richard Keenan, Stephen Stepanotis, Robert Skiersgaard, Kenneth McDonald, Julian Lips, Michael Zerbib, Jason Hughes, Timothy Burden, Kevin Alfonso, Ryan Bernard, Laura Enzio, Stephanie Quajan, Jessica Reese, Emma Von Glan, Natasha Jaginski, Brittany Garfinkel, Raquel Garfinkel, Rebecca Vega, Sharnique Lee, Karina Inua, Alexandra Presetto, Mariana Geiger, Taylor Bosnick, Alexa Fernicola, Jeffrey Wong, Matthew Shapiro, Michael Wallacco, Jacob Wynn, Daniel Dwyer, Lee Pierce, Matthew Werner, Scott Smith, Mark Oshanak, Nicholas Grabensky,
Anthony Mangia, Regina Wang, Denise Vertiz, Xinyi Liu, Jennifer DeSiena, Rosemary Carter, Maximilian O'Reilly, Henry Rude Matza, Corey Goldband, Michael Capobianco, Matthew Hayes, Catherine Russell, Amanda Delmonico, Niana Mims, Stephen Michelle, Robert Sampone, John Cortesis, Elliot Spivak, Matthew Gamel, Anthony Veneroni, Christian Caffarelli, Benjamin Berger, Raid Junaid, Christopher Scott, Renee Lennon, Stephanie Boudou, Jordan Colon, Nicole Cruz, Veselode Bellico, Derek Wilson, Alexandria Spiteri, Christopher Kutsubis, Georgina Kostopoulos, Meredith Nadeau, Catherine Martin, Ann Cristiano, Patrick Stark, Mindy Lau, Kamar Henry, Stephen Medard, Paul Hilding, Chloe Fischetti, Antonio Fuertes, Alexander Fate, John Mayer, Richard Stegner, Bradley Wilson, Kevin J. Mansky, Ilya Dimov, Michael Cavelli, Liza Albane, Caitlin Loper, Peyton Fletcher, Joseph Infantolino, Mark Gould,
Zachary Cohn, Juliana Van Straten, Philip Levy, Jacob Strauss, Kevin Schwartz, Mubarak Shah, Edward Sanchez, Anthony Santucci, Matthew Swinkin, Victoria Agel, Nicole Wood, Andrea DiBernardo, Vincent Lombardi, Cher Tariq, Anthony Argudo, Jennifer Scolari, Craig Lambert, Ryan Patchler, Genevieve Patsucci, Nicole Yaduli, Cody Bordeaux, Brittany Romaine, Krista Camacho, Jonathan Polizer, Christopher Delvecchia, Ariel August, Sebastian Short Cruz, Boris Rurnov, Ray Belliard, Stepan Remeskov, Kunal Mehta, Michelle Manamakov, Rishika Diaz, Samuel Jenkins, Jeffrey Mascuca, Paul Ogolino, Adrian Bailey, Ryan Sopke, Robert McKnight, Ryan Gillen, Craig Camara, Adele Mustafa, Danielle Ruggiero, Nicholas Romero, William Steiger, Ian Hembrecht, Genu George, Malik Mirage, Caitlin Beretta, Samantha Kaserbi, Mordecai Moseson, Stanford Backenston,
Mikhail Kaminsky, Kevin Chadrian, Vincent Curcio, Sean Brawley, Arthur DeMichael, Ryan Hawkshurst, Angela Giugio, Megan Marco, Mackenzie O'Brien, Zachary Caputo, Serena Santos, Brian Blank, Jordan Paris, Victoria Pope, Kiana Gilanchi, Vincent Bakari, Joseph Maraca, Peyton McKinney, Alexander Kay, Ari Estegamati, Diphat Patel, Michael Adasi Jantoa, Harvinder Rihal, Andrew Mallon, Sarah Mendez Campolina, Giovanna Barisic, Michael Zhang, Neil Schloth, Louis Cazzetto, Molly Tet, Ariel Ayala, Savannah Smith Graham, Zain Haider Khan, Abdul Hadi, John Pritziolis, Francis Faulkner, Stephanie Manning, Brian Keene, Joan Gaudiaso, Brandon Rosen, Andrew Killen, Ryan Ty, Charles Simmons, Jackson Salisbury, Ethan Miller, Sonia Thalapalil, Mary Beth Dwyer, Gilbert Tavares, Aaron Dunleavy, Anthony Pallone, Nicholas Franzini, Sahaj Shah, Evan Kripel,
Salvatore Mangano, James Bezzetta, Christopher Haig, Gene Eel, Michael Gierney, Julian Gillette, Matthew Barry, Christopher Grenzig, Tyler Bott, Michael Anaruma, Haidar Emilson, Ryan Dunn, Herbert Blist, Christopher Griebish, Lena Stan, Thomas Burzo, Christopher Briggs, Melissa Kempadau, Alexander Harabuda, Gerard Anglade, Robert Crotty, Jasmine Carroll, Vincent Ruggiero, Michael Warren, Andrew Portnelli, Nicholas Paparazzo, Nathan Matthews, Jeffrey John, Nigel Henry, Christopher Fazio, Seth Sakowitz, Matthew Nigoburin, Brett Schreiber, John Schlitt, Cody Ruggiero, Luke Veit, James Franco, Shannon McCardle, Andrew Cohan, Anthony Zappone, Daniel Daly, Jamie DeLarco, Stephanie Coles, Mario Karan, Samantha Grieber, Kwang Yu, Jason O'Sullivan, Ahmed Idris, Michael Brennan, Jonathan Kirk, Demetrios Kapanzos,
Robert O'Hara, Raza Sheik, Brian Stubert, Joelkis Abreu, Jesus Maldonado, Benedito Antonio Fitanzo III, Christian Wilcox, Trevor Kunze, Brandon Mahoney, Michael Kelly, Thomas DiTillo, Alexander Kazera, Felton Cortillo, Brandon Renda, Brittany Towner, Martina Mastrovich, Tara Macaluso, Kelly Gleason, Caitlin McKay, Everett Keller, graduates of the Lawrence Herbert School of Communication, Devin Aiken, Alex Perrone, Dylan Berg, Beckett Muffson, Anthony Zacconi, Anthony Arfey, Joshua Wheelock, Dylan Kinsella, Marcus Lascalzo, Luna Burns, Hector Herrera, Andrew Weston, James Regan, Ryan Rose, Christopher Langlois, Adam Seaman, Michael Papiermeister, Andrea Langanat, Amanda Torres, Chelsea Kelly, Sasha Abramson, Mara Rucco, Caitlin Sestak, Sasha Murpuri, Mary Beth Powers, Kerry Sheehan, Kelly Sahagian, Emily O'Brien, Sarah Morey, Catherine Webb, Kyle Vizza, Daniel Portella, Kimberly Moyo, Devin Hambrecht, Stephanie Leal, Christopher Breen, Sydney Madden, Camille Cruz, Jasmine Phillips,
Lindsay McKinnon, Raquel Kona, Carrie Schreiber, Mario Carbone, Shannon Ferry, Damian Fiorello, Brian McDonald, Catherine Mitchuk, Michael Sullivan, Robert Joyce, Mark Prusen, Matthew Markowitz, Joshua Levin, Jeffrey Kramer, Kellyanne Levick, Chelsea Royal, Diana Chichinsky, Aubrey Ann Grady, Lauren Riccardi, Olivia Lavois, Merle O'Neill, Justin Smith, Jessica Molinari, Taylor Miller, Rachel Morse, Mandy Watson, Daniel Campbell, Gage Moody Siegel, William Ketchum, Zachary Mangillo, Ahad Amram, Christopher Sarfin, Gabrielle Chiha, Tara Miller, Lara Nemiroff, Michelle Medoff, Heather Fausel, Emily Scheel, Julianne Molina, Carissa Pohl, Ariana Spang, Abigail Littleton, Mackenzie McQuinn, Nicole Stone, Shea Foley, Amanda Castle, Brianna Pattinson, Richard Yanu, Mark Weiner, Jesse Young, Corey Caputo, Heather Schimpf, Angela Chosky, Dominique Gargano, Tonya Levy, Rachel Tom Quinn, Haven Alaba,
Christinese Anderson, Maria Picarero, Anthony Vaughn, Alicia Detker, Laurent Octobre, Melanie Morgan, Vanessa Vaughn, Caroline Wilkins, Allison Judge, Brianna Bird, Derek Begley, Kerry Bushman, Deanna Atkins, Nicholas Ciccone, Christopher Graff, Christina Wargo, Asia Nicole Facey, Felicia Morandi, Megan Giannotta, Lauren Mansley, Jennifer McPhail, Helen Masha, Madeline Tundis, Anique Spencer, Julia Ryan, Kelly Farrington, Christina Deacon, Rachel Peace, Thomas Provine, Stephen Norconi, Amanda El-Sheikh, Ronald Cardno, Shakira Robinson, Joycelyn Dempsey, Christina Sewell, Matthew Martinez, Sharita Lundy, Amanda Medina, Jamie Melvin Sanders, Jeffrey Hinch, Christina Cortez, Kristen Kelly, Jessica Felipe, Sharon Liani, Alexander Meany, Amanda Kokolaris, Priyanka Singh, David Altman, Seth Egert, Brianna Schachtel, Caitlin Sawyer, Christina Hedges, Courtney McCain, Kelsey Usher, Julia Chappell, Christine Guckert, Emily DeSant Maresville, Jessica Cates, Victoria Vandergrift, Alicia Hasty, Julia Skroback, Jennifer Burke,
Anthony Canavacol, Matthew Sabrizi, Catherine Sheward, Rebecca Meyer, Martha Mason, Meredith Maiorino, Gianna Serganila, Jessica Rebello, Candace Cody, Richard Nieves, Eddie Gomez, Justin Damanio, Christina Lally, Eric Ziwak, Christine O'Day, Isabel Trulane, Emma Clark, Ciara Musson, Kayla Enigman, Samuel Wharton, Max Knobloch, Matthew Gadice, Kirsten Black, Alexa Alve, Ellen Hornberger, Dilpreet Kneath, Linda Gordino, Yeliz Akalis, Chika Okayama, Nina Vasilevic, Brianna Borenson, Jennifer Grood, Marissa Spano, Azaria Wasalihun, Ryan Tarada, Andrew Bertelson, Peter Walters, Kieran Doyle, Gabriel Isade, Gabrielle Weinblatt, Russell Rothenberg, Michael Randonzo, Christine Muncy, Andrew Schwartz, Jana Kaplan, Samantha Newdorf, Leah Schultz, Marilyn Oliver, Haley Storbeck, Anthony Lebate, Anthony Hadzoglu, George Dodge, Matthew Holder, Frank Gervasi, Michael Yehuda, Parker Junger,
James Cesari, Andrea Pellegrini, Andrew Robluski, Ruby Staplehurst, Sean Foster, Ijide Coleman, Ashley Reed, Jennifer Sakay, Nicholas Eder, Jade McCall, Bianca Egalite, Shakia Francis, Claudia Baltazar, graduates of the School of Engineering and Applied Science, Dylan Mineta, Christopher Morbillo, Frederick Smith, Yuki Yamashita, Avraham Nahum Brun Kessler, Mary Kate Siriani, Rachel Arnold, Brittany Savage, Nicole Campagnan, John DeSalvo, Stephen Foley, Florian Pop, Jonathan Ledesma, Sundeep Singh, Gregory Knowles, Andrew Precario, David Cotter, Jesse Wong, Arek Adhami, Engelbert Morales, Hemin Annalise Valderrama, Dennis Vasquez Montez, Jonathan Farley, Ronald Thomas Conroy III, Sashank Sanjay, Alexander Rosenberg, Oswaldo Crespo, Andrew Pollitt, Benjamin Moyer, Alexander Borgoyne, Cynthia Cheng, Taryn Turfs, Feroz Ali. Congratulations, graduates.
All right. Order in the house, especially the first row on my right. So we have one last thing, and that is we have a tradition. No, don't sit down. Graduates, stand up. Platform party, stand up. Audience, keep down. So we've all been focused on these fabulous graduates, which we should, because they're great. But we know, as Maya Angelou once said, nobody out there ever makes it all alone, and that none of these graduates would be here without the love and support of their family and friends. So we want to join you. Turn around and applaud your parents and friends.
And there's one more important symbol of your graduation. Please move your tassel from right to left. Now, following this commencement, there will be a reception for graduates, guests, faculty, and members of the platform party at the David Mack Physical Education Center, which is immediately adjacent to the arena. Will everyone please remain in place until the academic procession has left the arena? And congratulations!